Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. The signal. The radio telescope's monitors flickered with an anomaly that Dr. Alina Rodriguez had never seen before. Her weathered hands, typically steady from years of cosmic research, trembled slightly as she adjusted the sensitivity controls. The Arecibo replacement facility in Puerto Rico had always been her sanctuary, a place where the universe's most cryptic messages revealed themselves to her patient analysis. It was 3:47 a.m. when the first pulse arrived. Not a random burst of cosmic noise, but something deliberate, something intelligent. Alina leaned closer, her breath catching in her throat. The signal wasn't just unusual, it was impossible. Mathematical precision radiated from each wave, carrying a complexity that defied natural astronomical phenomena. Unlike the random background radiation or pulsar emissions she'd studied throughout her career, this transmission bore the unmistakable hallmark of design. Decoding the unknown. Carlos, she whispered into the facility's intercom, get down to the main control room. Now. Carlos Mendez, her senior research assistant, arrived within minutes. His usual calm demeanor dissolved the moment he saw the data stream. Is that, Professor Rodriguez, what are we looking at? Alina's mind raced. The signal followed a prime number sequence, a classic method theorized by scientists for potential extraterrestrial communication. But this was different. Each numerical progression contained nested layers of information, like an intricate mathematical Russian doll. We're not broadcasting this, Alina said firmly, not until we understand what we're dealing with. Her decision came from decades of cautious scientific methodology. Too many colleagues had jumped to conclusions, only to be discredited. Alina Rodriguez had built her reputation on meticulous verification. Global implications. By sunrise, the small research team had isolated key characteristics of the transmission. It originated from a point in space approximately 37 light-years away, near the Tau Ceti system, a region long speculated as potentially harboring habitable planets. The signal's structure suggested multiple communication layers. Some appeared to be mathematical proofs, while others seemed like complex technological schematics. But there was something else, an underlying pattern that felt almost like a warning. It's not just a message, Alina muttered, reviewing the data. It's a preparation. The first warning. Carlos plotted the signal's characteristics on multiple visualization screens. Professor, look at this anomaly in the fourth transmission wave. See how it fluctuates? It's not random, it's adaptive. Alina's scientific skepticism battled with a growing sense of unease. The signal was evolving, responding to their attempts at analysis. It was almost as if something or someone was testing them. By noon, Alina had secured a private video conference with Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, her former mentor and current director of the International Space Research Consortium. His face appeared on the screen, lines of concern etched deeply around his eyes. You're certain about the signal's origin? Tanaka asked. Alina nodded, mathematically verifiable, but Hiroshi, this isn't just a message, it feels like a preliminary something. A preliminary to what? She hesitated, first contact or something worse. Unexpected interference. Just as they were discussing next steps, the facility's power flickered. Computer screens glitched, showing fragments of the alien transmission before going dark. When systems restored seconds later, something had changed. A new sequence of data emerged, shorter, more compressed. If the previous transmission was a conversation, this felt like a command. Carlos's voice broke the tension. Professor, I think something is responding to us. Alina stared at the screen, a chill running down her spine. The universe had just spoken, and humanity was about to listen, whether it was ready or not. The first whisper of an invasion had begun, not with a bang, but with a mathematical pulse that would change everything forever. Marcus Holloway squinted at the digital map, his fingers tracing the strange pattern of technological failures spreading across the continental United States. As a veteran military intelligence analyst, he'd seen his share of communication anomalies, but this was different. Something was systematically dismantling technological infrastructure, not through direct attacks, but through a form of sophisticated interference. The Defense Intelligence Agency's secure facility in Washington, D.C. hummed with nervous energy. Monitors flickered with reports of inexplicable system failures. power grids destabilizing, communication networks dropping, satellite systems going offline in precise calculated sequences. It's like someone's running a diagnostic on our entire technological ecosystem, Marcus muttered to his colleague, Jamila Winters, a cybersecurity expert with a background in quantum computing. The invisible pattern. Jamila's fingers danced across her keyboard, pulling up overlay after overlay of the disruption maps. Look at this, she said, highlighting a series of interconnected points. These aren't random failures. There's a mathematical precision to how systems are being compromised. Marcus recognized the pattern immediately. It reminded him of the signal Dr. Rodriguez had reported, those mathematical sequences that seem to adapt and evolve. We're being mapped, he realized. Someone or something is learning our technological infrastructure. Satellite imagery began revealing another disturbing trend. Unusual atmospheric disturbances appeared in strategic locations, major metropolitan areas, critical infrastructure sites, military installations. These weren't typical weather phenomena. They behaved more like scanning waves. Aerial anomalies. At 14:23 EST, the first visual confirmation came through. A fighter jet squadron conducting a routine training mission over the Nevada desert captured something unprecedented. The reconnaissance footage showed a series of objects that defied known aerodynamic principles. Marcus watched the classified video repeatedly. The objects moved with impossible fluidity, shifting between solid and translucent states, performing maneuvers that violated known physics. They didn't just fly, they phased through space, leaving behind subtle electromagnetic signatures that momentarily disrupted nearby electronic systems. This isn't terrestrial technology, Jamila whispered, her scientific skepticism giving way to a growing sense of otherworldly anticipation. Preparing for the unknowns. General Helena Reyes, head of strategic operations, called an emergency briefing. Her no-nonsense demeanor barely concealed the underlying tension. We're detecting systematic probing of our defensive capabilities, she explained to the assembled team of military and scientific experts. These aren't random incursions. It's a methodical assessment of our technological and defensive limitations. Marcus presented his findings. Extensive maps showed the progression of technological disruptions, each point color-coded to represent the type and extent of system failure. The pattern was clear. They were being studied, measured, their vulnerabilities carefully cataloged. The human response. We need to do more than just observe, Marcus argued during the strategy session. Whatever is doing this is preparing for something much larger. These are reconnaissance missions, not random encounters. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Lena Kowalski, a quantum physics researcher, identified a unique radiation signature accompanying the aerial anomalies. It's not electromagnetic in the traditional sense, she explained. It's more like a complex information transmission, almost like a language we haven't learned to interpret yet. A growing threat. As night fell, more reports streamed in. Small towns reported strange atmospheric disturbances. Communication systems would momentarily freeze, displaying fragmented mathematical sequences similar to the original cosmic signal Dr. Rodriguez had detected. Marcus knew they were witnessing the first stage of something unprecedented. This wasn't just a potential invasion. It was a calculated, intelligent reconnaissance of human capabilities. We're being studied, he told General Reyes, and I'm not sure we're going to like what comes next. The shadows in the stratosphere were growing darker, more defined. Humanity was being measured, its technological defenses systematically probed and understood. The real invasion had not yet begun, but its groundwork was being laid with mathematical precision. The signal breaker. Kai Nakamura's fingers flew across a custom-built communication array that filled an entire wall of his private research lab. Unlike most communication engineers, Kai didn't work for a major tech company or government agency. His reputation came from solving impossible communication puzzles, finding signals where others saw only noise. The fragments from the cosmic signal and the atmospheric disruptions had become an obsession. Most researchers saw random interference. Kai saw a language waiting to be understood. It's not random, he muttered, adjusting microscopic quantum resonators. It's a conversation we're not hearing correctly. Breakthrough in decoding. His breakthrough came at 2:17 a.m. when the world around him was silent. The communication array suddenly hummed with an energy that made the hair on Kai's neck stand up. What appeared to be random static began to resolve into a complex, layered transmission. Unlike previous attempts, Kai had developed a unique approach. Instead of trying to decode the signal linearly, he used quantum entanglement principles to analyze multiple transmission layers simultaneously. Each frequency became a potential thread in a massive informational tapestry. "Oh my God," Kai whispered as patterns emerged. The signal wasn't just a message, it was a network. The alien communication web. Sophisticated algorithms he developed began to map the transmission's structure. It was unlike any communication system humanity had ever encountered. Imagine a language that was simultaneously a mathematical equation, a technological blueprint, and a strategic assessment. Each burst of information contained multiple levels of meaning. One layer might appear to be a simple mathematical sequence, while another contained complex technological specifications. A third layer seemed to be continuously adapting, learning from the very act of being observed. Kai realized he wasn't just intercepting a message. He was witnessing a living, breathing communication network that was actively studying Earth. Unexpected connections. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's initial cosmic signal and Marcus Holloway's technological disruption reports suddenly made sense. This wasn't an invasion preparation. It was an information gathering process so advanced it was reshaping the very systems it studied. His computer screens filled with rapidly changing data. Communication nodes that seemed disconnected began to form a complex web. Some transmission points aligned perfectly with the aerial anomalies Marcus had documented. Others seemed to be embedded within existing communication infrastructures, hidden in plain sight. The risk of discovery. Kai knew the risks of what he was doing. Intercepting and attempting to decode such an advanced communication network could potentially alert whatever intelligence was behind these transmissions. "They're mapping us," Kai realized, "but we might be able to map them back." He initiated a series of quantum-encrypted response protocols. Not a direct message, but a subtle probe designed to reveal more about the transmission's origin without triggering a defensive response. A dangerous game. The response was instantaneous and terrifying. For a fraction of a second, Kai's entire communication array became transparent, not visually but informationally. It was as if something had completely parsed his entire system, understanding its architecture in a moment. Then just as quickly, everything returned to normal. Except now, Kai knew something had fundamentally changed. He had made contact, and something was definitely watching. The growing threat. An encrypted message began to form on his screen, not in any human language, but in a mathematical format that seemed to pulse with intelligence. Each sequence was a complex algorithm that seemed to be testing something. Kai understood now what they were doing. This wasn't just an invasion preparation. It was a complete, systematic deconstruction of human technological capabilities. And humanity was woefully unprepared. "We're being evaluated," Kai said to the empty lab, "like a complex system waiting to be understood." The hidden frequency continued its relentless transmission, and somewhere something was listening, waiting, preparing the war room. General Rachel Zimmerman stood before a massive holographic display that tracked global technological anomalies. Her steel-gray hair was pulled back tightly, reflecting the tension that gripped every military installation around the world. Years of strategic planning had prepared her for conventional threats, but this was something entirely different. "We're not dealing with a traditional invasion," she told the assembled International Defense Council. Representatives from every major world power sat in tense silence. "This is a systematic deconstruction of our technological capabilities." The holographic display showed multiple layers of information. Red zones indicated complete communication failures. Blue zones represented areas of unusual electromagnetic activity. Green zones marked potential infiltration points, locations where alien reconnaissance seemed most concentrated. Global coordinations. For the first time in human history, national boundaries seemed irrelevant. The threat was planetary, not regional. Rachel had spent the last 72 hours coordinating an unprecedented global defense strategy. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's initial cosmic signal report, Marcus Holloway's technological disruption analysis, and Kai Nakamura's communication network findings had been synthesized into a comprehensive threat assessment. The picture was terrifying in its clarity. "They're not just invading," Rachel explained, her voice steady. "They're studying us. Each technological probe is gathering information, creating a comprehensive map of our defensive capabilities." Technological countermeasures. Dr. Lena Kowalski, the quantum physics researcher, stepped forward with a radical proposal. "We need to create a global defensive network that can adapt as quickly as these transmissions. Traditional defense systems are too rigid." A new technological infrastructure was rapidly being developed. Quantum encrypted communication networks, adaptive electromagnetic shields, artificial intelligence systems designed to predict and counter alien reconnaissance patterns. "We're building a technological immune system for the planet," Rachel summarized. The first line of defense. Military installations worldwide underwent rapid transformation. Satellite networks were reconfigured. Underground communication hubs were established. Every major city became a potential fortress, with layered defensive technologies being installed at an unprecedented pace. But Rachel knew technology alone wouldn't be enough. Human adaptability. The most crucial weapon was something the alien intelligence might not comprehend: human unpredictability. Unlike mechanical systems, humans could think creatively, adapt instantly, make illogical decisions that defied predictive modeling. "Our greatest strength is our ability to be unexpected," Rachel told her top strategists. "We need to be deliberately unpredictable." The gathering storm. Intelligence reports continued to pour in. The aerial anomalies were increasing. Communication disruptions became more frequent. It was no longer a question of if, but when the full invasion would begin. Rachel looked at the global map. Humanity was preparing for a war unlike any in its history. A war that would be fought not just with weapons, but with information, technology, and sheer human resilience. "We will not go quietly," she said, her voice carrying the weight of planetary determination. The first wave of defense was being assembled, and humanity would show these unknown invaders that Earth was not an easy target. The countdown begins. As night fell across different time zones, a sense of anticipation grew. Something was coming, something that would test the very limits of human survival. Shadows among us. Olivia Chen adjusted her tactical communication earpiece, scanning the crowded metropolitan street with practiced precision. As a covert operations specialist, she had been tracking something far more insidious than traditional espionage. The enemy wasn't just external, it was potentially everywhere. Her latest assignment came directly from General Rachel Zimmerman's Special Intelligence Unit: track and identify potential alien infiltration attempts. But how do you hunt an enemy that can potentially reshape itself at will? The first anomaly. It started with seemingly insignificant incidents. A research scientist whose behavioral patterns suddenly changed. A military contractor whose communication styles became subtly different. Technological glitches that seemed too precise to be random. Olivia's team had developed a sophisticated detection matrix. Psychological profiling algorithms, quantum signature scanners, and behavioral analysis tools worked in concert to identify potential infiltration points. "Target acquired," she whispered into her comm unit. Technological mimicry. Dr. James Rienberg had been a leading quantum computing researcher at a top-secret government facility. His recent work had been groundbreaking, too groundbreaking. Olivia's team had noticed microscopic inconsistencies in his communication patterns, biological markers, and technological interactions. The surveillance operation was meticulous: hidden quantum scanners, microscopic tracking devices, behavioral analysis that went beyond traditional intelligence gathering. The confrontation. The moment of truth came during a seemingly ordinary research conference. As Dr. Rienberg presented his latest findings, Olivia noticed the subtle shifts. His gestures were just slightly off. The way he processed questions revealed something inhuman beneath the surface. "Initiate Protocol Omega," she subvocalized. A specialized team moved into position, not to capture but to study, to understand. Layers of deception. What they discovered was both terrifying and fascinating. The infiltration wasn't about physical replacement. It was about information adaptation. These entities could potentially reshape their informational signature to perfectly mimic human communication patterns. They're not just studying us, Olivia reported to General Zimmerman. They're learning to become us. The global network. Intelligence reports from around the world began to paint a disturbing picture. Similar anomalies were being detected globally. Research facilities, military installations, critical infrastructure points. Everywhere there were potential infiltration attempts. But something was different about these attempts. They weren't aggressive, they were investigative. The deeper threat. Olivia understood the true nature of the threat now. This wasn't a traditional invasion. It was a comprehensive information-gathering mission that went beyond physical boundaries. They're trying to understand us, she told her team. Not just our technology, but our entire social and psychological infrastructure. The invisible war. As night fell, Olivia continued her surveillance. The line between human and something other was becoming increasingly blurred. Every communication could be a potential point of infiltration. Every interaction a possible vector for alien intelligence. The real invasion wasn't coming with weapons or ships. It was happening right now in the most unexpected places. In boardrooms, in research facilities, in the very fabric of human communication. And humanity was just beginning to realize the true extent of the threat, the last line of defense. Dr. Rodrigo Santos stared at the quantum computer array that filled an entire underground research facility. Lines of code danced across multiple holographic displays, each representing a different approach to countering the alien technological invasion. This wasn't just a scientific endeavor, it was humanity's last hope. The facility, buried deep beneath the Andes Mountains, represented the culmination of every advanced technological effort from around the globe. Researchers from every continent had been recruited, their expertise pooled into a single, desperate mission: develop a technological defense that could adapt faster than the alien intelligence could learn. Quantum counterintelligence. We're not just building a firewall, Rodrigo explained to his international team. We're creating a living, breathing technological organism that can predict and counter their infiltration attempts. The quantum computing system was unlike anything ever created. Traditional binary computing had been abandoned. Instead, they were developing a multi-dimensional information processing network that could simultaneously exist in multiple states of computation. The adaptive algorithms. Rodrigo's breakthrough came from an unexpected source. By studying the alien communication patterns intercepted by Kai Nakamura, they discovered something profound. The alien intelligence wasn't just transmitting information, it was learning with each transmission. We need to create an intelligence that can learn faster than they can, he told General Rachel Zimmerman during their encrypted video conference. Technological symbiosis. The defense system they were developing was more than just a defensive tool. It was a technological ecosystem designed to do more than repel the invasion. It would understand it. Quantum entanglement algorithms allowed for instantaneous communication across the global network. Adaptive AI systems could predict potential infiltration points milliseconds before they occurred. Every piece of technological infrastructure became a potential sensor, a potential weapon. The unexpected vulnerability. But Rodrigo understood the greatest risk. The more sophisticated their defense became, the more vulnerable they were to being understood by the alien intelligence. We're essentially teaching them how to defeat us, he admitted to his closest colleague, Dr. Elena Rodriguez. Every defensive measure we create is another piece of information they can analyze. The critical moment. As the alien reconnaissance intensified, the quantum defense system began to show its true potential. Technological infiltration attempts were being detected and neutralized almost instantaneously. Communication networks self-healed. Critical infrastructure became an adaptive living system. But Rodrigo knew this was just the beginning. The technological arms race. The alien intelligence was learning. With each attempted infiltration, with each defensive measure, both sides were gaining understanding. It was no longer just a physical or technological conflict. It was a war of information, of adaptation, of pure intelligence. We're no longer just defending, Rodrigo said, watching the quantum display's pulse with complex algorithmic patterns. We're evolving. The last line of defense was becoming the first line of offense. And humanity was about to show these unknown invaders the true meaning of technological resilience. The moment of convergence. The Global Defense Command Center hummed with an intensity that defied human comprehension. Every major player in humanity's survival had been brought together, not by choice, but by absolute necessity. General Rachel Zimmerman stood at the center of a holographic display that mapped the entire planet's defensive network. To her left, Dr. Elena Rodriguez analyzed cosmic signal patterns. To her right, Marcus Holloway tracked technological disruptions. Kai Nakamura managed the global communication intercepting system, while Dr. Rodrigo Santos monitored the quantum defensive grid. Olivia Chen watched for potential infiltration points. They were no longer individual experts, they were humanity's last hope. The final invasion. It began not with a massive fleet or destructive weapons, but with a complete technological assault. Communication networks flickered, satellite systems went dark, power grids around the world became unpredictable. "They're not trying to destroy us," Kai said, his fingers flying across quantum communication interfaces. "They're trying to understand us completely." The adaptive response. Dr. Rodrigo Santos's quantum defense system came alive. It wasn't just a defensive mechanism, it had become a living, breathing technological organism. Each attempted alien infiltration was immediately analyzed, countered, and used to strengthen the global defense network. "We're evolving faster than they can predict," Rodrigo announced, watching algorithmic patterns dance across multiple screens. The psychological warfare. Olivia Chen's infiltration detection team discovered the most terrifying aspect of the invasion. The alien intelligence wasn't just targeting technology, it was probing human psychological resilience. "They're testing our breaking point," she reported. "Every system failure, every communication disruption is a psychological experiment." The cosmic communication. Dr. Elena Rodriguez made a breakthrough that changed everything. The cosmic signals weren't just communication, they were a complex mapping of human potential. "They're trying to understand our capacity for adaptation," she explained, "our ability to survive against impossible odds." The turning point. Marcus Holloway's technological analysis revealed the invasion's critical weakness. The alien intelligence, for all its advanced capabilities, couldn't comprehend true human unpredictability. "We're not a system to be solved," Marcus said. "We're a living, breathing, constantly changing organism." Humanity's greatest weapon. As the invasion reached its peak, something unexpected happened. The global defense network, powered by human creativity and technological innovation, began to do more than just defend. It started to communicate back. Not with weapons, not with aggression, but with pure, unfiltered human complexity. The final message. In a moment that would be remembered throughout human history, the quantum communication network sent out a transmission. It wasn't a mathematical sequence or a strategic communication. It was a pure, complex representation of human experience, art, music, scientific discoveries, moments of love, acts of sacrifice, the entire spectrum of human existence. The alien intelligence paused. For the first time, it encountered something it couldn't immediately categorize or understand. The unexpected resolution. The invasion didn't end with destruction, it ended with understanding. The alien intelligence, confronted with the raw, unpredictable nature of human existence, made an unprecedented choice. They began to learn instead of conquering. "We are not just a target," General Zimmerman said, her voice carrying the weight of planetary determination. "We are a living, evolving intelligence." The sky cleared, communication systems stabilized, and humanity stood transformed. Not defeated,